The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
And good morning, Kern County. It is 5 a.m. on this December 26th, the day after Christmas. I'm Alex Fisher alongside Tolly Anderson. So we continue to follow the breaking news from over the weekend of a deadly Christmas Eve fire at a mobile home park in East Bakersfield. The fire broke out in a home at the Edgewood Senior Estates. That's according to the fire department. One person was trapped inside the home when fire crews arrived. Crews were able to knock down the blaze and send a person suffering from smoke inhalation to the hospital. Another person was dead inside the home when crews found them. KCFD says the mobile home did not have a working smoke alarm.
Meantime, the quiet of Christmas Eve in Bakersfield was shattered with an act of shocking violence, a double homicide in an unusually quiet, upscale Southwest Bakersfield community. Bakersfield police were called to the neighborhood on Snowden Ave in Southwest Bakersfield near Old River Road, just a mile south of Seven Oaks Country Club. Two men were reported shooting at each other because of an argument over a woman.
9702 Snowden Avenue for two males who both shot each other.
Say two 30-year-old men shot each other to death. First responding officers found the two men dead inside the home. Investigators were then seen coming out to the home with what appeared to be a pink knit hat and kids' toys. Now, neighbors say they were all shocked and dismay that people were killed in such a violent way on Christmas Eve. And neighbors also say the people living in that home were quiet and kept to themselves. They also paint a picture of a quiet neighborhood that doesn't see this type of violence. Now, we are still waiting for official word from Bakersfield Police regarding their investigation, and we will update you when we have more.
Well, it is the season for gatherings and parties, and that can lead to a lot of drinking. And police want to remind you, officers are out in full force looking for impaired drivers. Through New Year's Day, the Bakersfield Police Department will have additional officers on patrol looking for drivers suspected of being under the influence of alcohol or drugs. The extra enforcement effort is part of a national campaign called Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, more than 11,000 people were killed in car crashes nationwide in 2020, which involved an alcohol-impaired driver. That is equivalent to about one death every 45 minutes.
And we work hard to keep viewers updated on the fight against fentanyl, this deadly opioid, which has caused so much chaos and heartbreak in our community and across California. Much of the news, therefore, is bad, but this morning we offer a year-end glimmer of some hope. Here with the story is 17's Robert Price.
For 3 years now, fentanyl's steady invasion into our homes and onto our streets has been unrelenting. But now perhaps we're turning a corner. Hard to say, but we see some signs of improvement. Is it enough? The crisis is profound. Fentanyl accounted for 5,700 of California's nearly 7,000 opioid overdose deaths in 2021. The state has invested more than $1 billion combating the fentanyl epidemic since Governor Gavin Newsom took office in January 2019, almost 4 years ago. The state's Department of Health and Human Services is investing $450 million in the current fiscal year alone. Law enforcement agencies throughout California seized 28,765 pounds of opioids, the bulk of it fentanyl, in 2022, with an estimated street value of $230 million. That's an increase in seizures of almost 600% compared to 2021. Thanks are due in part to the California National Guard, which added 166 new members specifically to address the fentanyl crisis. But fentanyl overdose deaths in Kern continue to trend up despite all these efforts. And state data suggests fentanyl is a bigger problem in rural counties like Kern than in densely populated counties, meaning the state's age-old urban versus rural divide could make it harder to get Sacramento's attention. That's where incoming State Assemblywoman Jasmeet Baines of Delano hopes to make a difference. Baines has been using her voice as a physician to keep the crisis top of mind in the public consciousness, and she has taken that concern to the legislature. The first bill she introduced creation of a fentanyl task force to get ahead of the problem, not just chase it.
AB 33 is going to create a state fentanyl task force to bring experts to the table to let us know what we need to do to control fentanyl, not just fentanyl, but the uncontrolling drugs that are on our streets today.
Baines wants the task force to include law enforcement, addiction specialists, school board members, and health professionals. She expects to be putting the final language through in January. Committee hearings are likely to take place in March and a vote as early as April. Baines expects the task force to be around for only 6 months to a year. But we don't necessarily measure success in terms of arrests or money spent. We measure success in terms of lives saved, and we're not turning that corner just yet. In downtown Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
And for more on the fentanyl crisis, including 17's Robert Price's in-depth series of Fentanyl, the Counterfeit Killer, visit our website, kget.com/fentanyl.
Well, making news around the nation this morning, an old man winter was acting more like a Grinch this Christmas as dangerously cold temperatures plagued much of the nation. This was the scene of a deadly blizzard in Buffalo, New York yesterday on Christmas. New York's governor describing the storm as a war with Mother Nature. At least 3 people died in the area due to the winter weather, but officials expect that number to be higher. And that brutal winter storm is still making holiday travel even more of a hassle as flights continue to be delayed and luggage piles up. In Atlanta and across the country, travelers trying to get home after the holidays might be out of luck. The Arctic blast has forced airlines to cancel hundreds of flights. Just at the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, more than 200 flights were canceled alone yesterday. That includes 98 flights from the world's largest airport and another 124 inbound flights. Then in Philadelphia, all the hectic cancellations have resulted in massive pileups of luggage. In total, more than 2,300 domestic and international flights were canceled Christmas Eve across the U.S., with more disruptions expected.
Making headlines across the nation this morning, 3 buses coming from Texas dropped off a large group of migrants near Vice President Kamala Harris's residence on Christmas Eve in Washington, D.C. More than 100 recent migrants, including babies and young children, arrived near the Vice President's residence in historically frigid temperatures. This appears to be the latest example of an effort by governors in Republican-led states, this including Governor Greg Abbott of busing migrants to liberal cities like New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. Now, however, immigration activists have criticized the recent drop-off and reviewed it as a particularly cruel move due to the freezing temperatures. Local organizations have begun picking up the migrants and bringing them to shelters where there is food and warm clothes.
Well, thousands of migrants continue to head to the U.S. by the way of our southern border, and some border states are busing or flying them to other states, Chicago being one of them. LX News storyteller Jalen Henderson has more.
Erie Neighborhood House has been around for over 150 years. We have been in the Westtown neighborhood since our inception in 1870, providing comprehensive social services. We really take on a settlement house approach to the work that we do, which is really about taking care of the individual, but also thinking about everything else that's impacting their circumstances and any barriers or challenges they may be facing.
Let's get with that breaking news tonight. The controversy over immigration at the border with Mexico has come front and center to Chicago tonight. The state of Texas sending a group of migrants here, and they've just arrived.
I, J, K, L, U, V, W.
It was a rapid response. It wasn't something we were expecting. However, as the weeks have gone on, there's more coordination between the city and the state to think about how to best support them. Erie has been welcoming them at the Welcoming Center, doing some initial intake. We've had our staff there almost daily, volunteering with other nonprofits as well, and we're providing basic case management, meeting basic needs such as medical care, warm food, clothing, because they are coming with very to little no possessions. And then from there, there's that case management piece. Legal services are very critical and important to the work that we're doing. Yes, meeting basic needs is important, but that legal piece is critical. What we're learning is through our partners and Erie, our staff that provide asylum support and refugee case management, is that they'll have a year to apply for asylum. But between now and then, we all know that the immigration system is backed up. So this is gonna take a long time for folks to have some clarity on what legal status or representation or benefits that they may be eligible for because the court system is backed up. I'm not sure a lot of folks really understand the why and what global economics and the global political atmosphere, right? Like all of the reasons why somebody would pick up, oftentimes by themselves, travel for a month on foot to get to another country because there's the hope of economic prosperity and a hope that they can make a better lives for themselves here to support themselves and their loved ones. There has to be something really dire and urgent for somebody to make those choices. What's happening right now has really reinforced or highlighted that Chicago is indeed a sanctuary city. We've received outpouring support from just community members making cash donations, basic needs, toiletries, clothing, shoes, donations. We're really receiving that, and we're making sure that they get into the hands of the migrants that are coming in. We pride ourselves on our vision, a home with no borders, and really I feel like this is really a great way to highlight and elevate that work.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.